number one fantasy running back through 2 weeks is playing tonight, James Cook. I'm going to spend a few minutes talking about him. It would be easy for people to say, "Oh yeah, Cook, he's amazing." Cook, you've got to start him. I'm sure there are some people out there who are writing articles about that. Here's why you should start James Cook. I'd like to talk about a different angle with Cook. I've alluded to it before. I actually talked about it, I think, maybe a year ago on the blog. I alluded to it in a podcast episode, I forgot which one, maybe a week or two ago, about how I don't believe that Cook will be a starter in 2 years. I think that's what I said, 2 years. That by his age 28 season, he'll be finished. That is incredibly harsh to say, and I'm saying it because it's based on data analytics. I have a whole spreadsheet. I've referenced it multiple times on every running back since the start of the century who has been either drafted or played their first season as a rookie, obviously, as an undrafted free agent. So basically every new running back that's come in and looking at their college touches, including the most touches that they had in the season, along with their total touches and how that all, the relationship between that and their actual production. Pretty fascinating stuff. Pretty fascinating. Doesn't really scratch the surface. I could spend 24 hours. I could do a 24-hour podcast just talking about a bunch of things on that, and no one wants to hear that. Or if you do, just message me offline. Cook screams sell in Dynasty. And it's easy to say that with him being the RB1 through 2 weeks. People would probably say, oh yeah, he probably won't be the RB1 the whole season. If you can get, top 6, top 7 RB value for him right now, it's a reasonable sell. If you could lock in value somewhere else where you think you can get sustained production and maybe, have a running back and then maybe a wide receiver to help backfill where you might have a need. Cook is great in part because the Bills have been racking up points, and he is the unquestioned leader of that backfield. 20 touches a game, 3 touchdowns so far. Everything's coming up roses for this guy. I am not suggesting, that he's going to tank the rest of the season. What the numbers show is that based on the lack of touches in college, there is a relationship with a shortened NFL career. I referenced Peyton Hillis during the summer about the Madden curse and how few touches he had in college. He had that one big season and then never could replicate it. That happens over and over and over again. You might have one great season, maybe you have 2 great seasons, and then it all ends. When running backs are not battle-tested in college, they tend to have very brief fantasy relevant careers. There are so few exceptions. I think Kenyon Drake is one that I've mentioned before because he's low-hanging fruit. At the same time, Kenyon Drake, I think, was managed pretty effectively early in his career. I think he had maybe like 275 touches in college. He never went over 100 carries. I don't even think he had 100 ever during his time in Alabama. Then he comes to the pros, and he's managed, which can't be said as much for James Cook. Kenyon Drake was, I think it wasn't until year 5 or year 6 that he had over 150 carries. So it's a very different animal. When you talk about, the Kenyon Drake story is, here's a guy who had one big-time season of high usage, 250-plus touches, and there's everything that happened before, and there was everything that happened afterwards. But he had that one glorious season in 2020 or 2019. James Cook, similar low usage, and in fact, I think even lower usage. Maybe not. It was about 250, 300 touches. I don't know that he ever had more than 10 touches in a game. Maybe he did once or twice at Georgia. But he finished his senior year averaging 9 touches a game. Not his fault. It's just the reality. He gets drafted and he gets thrown into this incredible offense where, as a rookie, he's not needed as much. He dominates 5.6, 5.7, 5.8 yards a carry, something like that. I mean, he was in limited touches. It was fantastic. He also played alongside Devin Singletary, who had been around a couple of years and was established and good. And so Buffalo could lean on him and kind of bring James Cook into the process. By year two, Cook was the dominant force, and he had like 280 regular season touches, and then he had another 40 or something like that in the postseason. And then it was even roughly the same amount, like 240 and 60 or something like that in terms of the regular season and postseason last year. That's already treading into dangerous territory. I might have been conservative in suggesting that he wouldn't be a starter in 2 years. It's possible he won't be a starter next year. He would have to defy expectations. So when I say defy expectations, it goes back to like Christian McCaffrey. Last year would have had to defy expectations to be able to put together a productive season coming off a 400 touch season in 2023. He got hurt, played poorly, etc. Saquon Barkley this year, exact same thing. He would have to defy expectations to be great statistically this season. We'll see what happens. James Cook would have to defy expectations to be very good next season. And the fact that he has been a successful starter, the reason why I said 2 years from now is because I think whatever happens this season, I think he'll probably still be the starter next season. And then at that point, Buffalo will have to decide what they're do with their soon-to-be 28-year-old running back. Dalvin Cook around that time was finished after having, Dalvin Cook for several years was an elite or near elite until all of a sudden he wasn't. That is commonplace. I think I just looked it up. It was his age 28 season that he fell off, essentially, and he was finished. I'm very concerned about James Cook's longevity, and that's why if you are a dynasty manager, this is the perfect time to sell high if you can get top 5 value for him. And I think a lot of people could. I think given his age, he is only, 26, or going on 26. And the offense that he plays in, the fact that the offense will probably be good for at least 1 or 2 more years, Cook is going to be terrific as long as he defies expectations. You and I know that defying those expectations is unexpected. That's what defying expectations really means. It's unexpected. To your opponent, who might want James Cook, it's not defying expectations. They're just seeing a guy who's 26, who's a bell cow, and putting up amazing numbers and thinking, yeah, I want that on my team. So I am suggesting use that to your advantage, that if Cook defies expectations, he would be alone, literally alone in this position as someone who got very few touches in college and dominated in several seasons in the NFL. It just doesn't happen. And so I'd rather bet on that probability than just go with the flow and follow the points. I'm BJ Riddell, Fantasy Football for Winners. Follow me on the blog. Email me anytime. I'll always write back. See you tomorrow. Good luck if you got guys. Plans and